Was a good one.
You're supposed to be on TikTok so that you can act like you're in trouble. Alright, welcome to episode... I don't even know. I don't even know if counting episodes matter. Welcome to another episode of After Bedtime with Stevan.
And Kelsey.
Yeah, we're back. And I'm back with my little espresso cup that I teased on the last episode. It's the pride of my life right now. It's pretty cool.
It's October 1st.
It is October 1st.
It is like the tipping point of all the fun
all
holidays.
Hallows Eve.
Well, just all the exciting boom, boom, boom. Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's.
It is exciting stuff.
Yeah.
My favorite thing to do right now is to listen to that podcast. It's like real spooky and creepy, which like makes me feel very like October-y.
October-y?
That's a word.
Spooky, as Kai would say.
Yep, Kyler's very into... we can talk about that, because that's been after the last episode.
What?
We took Kyler to the pumpkin patch.
We did. He was so excited. Just more, like, they didn't have the pumpkins, like, right out in the front, so he didn't get distracted by that first. They had a lot of really, really good activities. So if you're kind of local to this area, I would very much recommend, what was it called?
Old Yale Farms.
It was
Frontenac,
so
Kansas.
good. So good. It was, I would say that it's really, really good for, like, younger kids. Like older, there's stuff to do for older kids.
It's good for. It was better than the ones we have been to, and the reason for that is that we paid, and it was kind of like all inclusive type thing. You could do
but
anything.
On their website it didn't say that.
Yeah,
so
but
I don't know if that's like a every weekend thing.
Well, you can't believe everything you read on the interwebs. But when we got in there and it was all inclusive, that's what made it really great. Was because kids have such a short attention span that like a pumpkin patch and a hayride is just, it's like they're on something for 5 minutes, they're off it, and it's not interesting anymore. This place had like 10-15 activities that they could kind of like spend 5-10 minutes here, spend 5-10 minutes
but
here.
They did have stuff that you did have to pay for if you wanted to do it. There was like a tie-dyeing.
S'mores.
There's s'mores station, there was a gold mining station, there was tie-dyeing shirts, and then you could make masks. So, I mean, there was some things that you could do, which I thought, really what I liked about it is that there seemed to be a lot of stuff that I hadn't seen before at a pumpkin patch. Like, there was some of the very similar things, but there was a lot of new activities, a lot of very inclusive activities for younger kids too. So I really
But the best part was
that.
Kyler's overwhelmed at all the big pumpkins that he could pick.
So
and he'd
excited.
go from one end to this and look at them, and then he'd go to the other end there and look at it. And he finally settled on one.
Which, by the way, side note, did you let him pull off the face of the panda bear pumpkin?
No, I did not let him, but I wasn't paying attention. And he was over there pulling the faces.
Do you know that those were in there with needles?
He couldn't. Oh, yeah, that's bad.
Yeah.
But he couldn't get the ear for the shark back on there
because it was put in there with like a nail.
Yeah, I didn't go over to investigate very closely.
He could have like stabbed himself.
Did you fix it?
No.
I told him you would fix it.
I don't have enough of
the...
I'm going to have to get more nails.
We should just completely forget that I did not supervise our children with needles, and we should just remember that you couldn't fix the pumpkins. No, that's bad. I admit that. I wasn't paying attention. We were just playing.
You know how long
but the
it
kids,
took me to do
our
that?
kids are still like pumpkin bandits. Like they,
yeah.
Like they. Every time I looked over,
not so much Cal.
Every time I looked over, Kylie was like shimmying to the neighbor's pumpkin.
Well, her pumpkins are prettier.
And then,
like
Cal was over there.
She has a very good setup for like a true traditional like fall girl doorway.
And then she
has mums everywhere.
Cal went over there and was like, "These are so beautiful."
The pumpkins. Well, she's also got like gourds, and she's got like the funky looking pumpkins too, which is really cool.
That was a fun weekend though.
Yeah.
Pumpkin patch. It was worth the $60 we spent.
Yeah, it was
the $10 on the pork nachos.
So good. As soon as Allie and Michael got them, it smelled so good that I could not focus on anything else.
See, you should have been the food scientist.
Yeah, 100%. All the stuff that you talk about that you were doing, I was like,
I should just
totally could have done that.
I had appreciation for the job. I just didn't have as much appreciation for the subject matter.
I love food.
Doesn't get me that
excited.
And
there's many, actually, to tell you the truth, it's probably a good thing I didn't, because there's probably a lot of times that people would call in and be like, hey, this is a new appetizer we want to do, and I'd be like, that wouldn't work.
That sounds horrible.
That sounds gross, and nobody would like it.
Yeah, you just have to smile and be like, yeah, we do that. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
I'd be like, I'm saving you time and money.
No, I think it's just funny. Like, people really, like, I've always had that sense about food where it's like, I feel like a steak I get at this restaurant is like the steak I get at that restaurant is like you know what I mean? Like, I understand the experience. Like, I understand going to someplace like, what's that restaurant, Momofuku?
Well,
I understand going to someplace like that because it's like this big, huge deal. It's the original thing, and I understand like paying for an experience like that. But I still think when I would eat the food, I still don't think I would bring the right level of appreciation for it.
I love food. I love food so much, and I appreciate it so much because also I think the difference is that you are capable of making. Like, if you wanted to eat that, you can make it.
Yeah, I can't though. See, I can't make it, but I can make.
You would make something similar to what
I can make an I can make an approximation that satisfies me.
Yeah. I can't. I can't make pork.
Well, I think you can.
I couldn't do what they did. It's just really, it's more of, I enjoy these foods and I don't get them often because we don't cook like that. And so.
Because her husband doesn't cook for her like that. That's what she's saying.
Yep. No, what it was more of meaning is that I enjoy that, like, good old home cooking food. And you don't really enjoy food like that. So there's really no point in making food like that for one person.
Yeah.
So I don't get food like that a lot. So it's almost kind of like I appreciate it more whenever I do get it.
So go to the pumpkin patch because it's fun. And you should go to Old Yale Farms Pumpkin Patch in Frontenac, Kansas. In Frontenac, Kansas. And get their pork nachos. While you're there.
They had so much more on there too. It all looked amazing.
10 out of 10 would recommend.
And would go again.
That's Kelsey and Steven's Yelp review.
Yeah.
Facebook review.
It was great. It was a lot of fun. It was for our nephew's birthday, and I think he had a lot of fun.
Let's talk about the cultural event that we were talking about earlier. Let's talk about the debate. Let's talk about the presidential debate. And just to preface, everyone who's listening or watching, we are not going to talk about the presidential debate from a political standpoint.
No.
We are purely going to talk about it from an objective...
We're not going to have you jump on... we're not going to jump down your throat to be on our side. I don't care what side.
We're just going to... We watched...
Just don't at us.
We watched... Yeah, don't at us. We literally watched... most of it. We watched 75% of it. We got in late. I think it started at 8.
Oh, I think we got enough.
We got enough of it. I guess what I want to kind of remark on is just like I feel so bad for Chris Wallace, the moderator. I just feel so bad for him because he is like a well-trained, professional, career newsman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And he really did. I would say out of everybody, he was possibly the most professional.
There is nothing he could have done.
No, there's nothing he could have done. And he did everything he could.
I thought
to calm the situation as best as he could.
And what I was so what was so what I felt so bad for him is obviously like he's talking to two, like, okay, I get it. Joe Biden doesn't hold a public office, but you're talking to
he was a vice president.
Yeah.
So I mean, he does deserve the respect.
But I'm more being from like a standpoint of like either of these men could become the next president, or be like, you're talking to the president who could be the next president, or you're talking to the man who could then hold the next presidency.
Yeah.
So like
So you don't want to be like, hey,
yeah,
shut up.
I know, that was like that to me. That was the difficult thing, was like he was trying to be as professional and well mannered and polite as possible, whilst like walking the line of being a moderator, trying to maintain control of the situation. And
I do
both
think he
were
handled it as best as he could.
Kind of unruly.
What I do think is what we both agreed on is that I do think for the debates going further is they need to implement some sort of like cutting the mic.
Just do it over Zoom. Make it full 2020 style and just do it over Zoom.
Or do it over Zoom and have Chris go, mute. And just let either one of them keep yelling at the other one, but it's mute and you can't hear.
How iconic of a 2020 moment would that to be? Have a president on Zoom debating, making his point while he is on mute, and then unmuting himself and saying, "Oh, sorry, I was on mute."
I'm sorry, we can't hear you. Mr. President, we can't hear you.
You're on mute.
We can't hear you. Oh, holding up the little signs that the elementary school teachers are doing now. That's like, your mic is muted.
What I can't understand about the Zoom or about these platforms is why can't there be some kind of, well, Zoom has some functionality for this, because if I'm muted and I talk on my Zoom, there's a little like notification that fades in across my screen that says your mic is muted. So it can detect when audio is...
Yeah.
So I guess I don't understand why they can't enable and disable your mic based on whether or not you're actually speaking or not.
I think that would be really hard, because how can you like fully detect background sound as not speaking?
True. Like if you're like your husband's in the background yelling at the children and your mic goes off.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, I think that would be so much better, because like when Donald Trump wasn't listening to him say like, you had your 2 minutes now.
Yeah.
President, like he could have just been like, click. I mean, obviously he could still yell.
Yeah.
And there's probably network microphones that will pick it up.
Yeah.
But at least it wouldn't be as loud and obnoxious.
Well, it'd just be kind of the registering of, okay, you're done.
I don't think I've ever seen
a more... Like, there's influencers I followed that, like, they were like, describe the debate with one word. And the only thing I could think of was just disrespectful.
I was thinking chaotic.
Well, yes, a lot of people said chaotic.
Like,
but
I was having a hard time following what either, the content of their words was lost among the...
remember even what the question was.
Yeah, I was like...
By the middle of it, because I was like, I don't... And at one point... Chris was like, I think it would be helpful for the American people is if we just answered the questions.
He tried so many times.
I mean, he probably didn't say it with that much sarcasm as I just did.
He tried so many times,
but he tried. He tried to ring it back in, and
that was crazy. I
like we said, we're not gonna like shove down your throat whatever side we're on. It's just more of really just the chaos, to talk about the chaos of the situation, and just really
I think objectively, you can say the president interrupted. He was more interruptive than Joe Biden was. Just objective. Like if you go back and count how many times Donald Trump broke in versus how many times Biden broke in. Yeah. He just objectively...
And I do think that Joe Biden kind of kept his cool as long as he could. It kind of seemed like he started to kind of lose it a lot quicker as soon as Donald Trump brought his son into the situation.
What's unfortunate is like, I don't know if that was Donald Trump's strategy or not.
To throw him off? Or?
To draw him down into that with being interruptive and basically engaging in a form of dialogue that wasn't productive. It wasn't like to our point right now. We're two voters here, and we really don't understand. We really had a hard time comprehending anything either was articulating because they were trying to talk over each other and they were interrupting each other, and it was just like, what the heck? And Chris Wallace is yelling in the background trying to get and you're more distracted by the spectacle of the thing than any merit.
Which I'm sure everyone has seen it by now, but like the CNN reporter that came back on the screen after it ended, he was like, that was the biggest like dumpster fire on a train wreck situation, which it's just so funny that like somebody who's on TV, like CNN, to where everyone can see it, was like, that was a shit show.
And I can totally see how people think. I can totally also see how some people will look at color Donald Trump's behavior as positive. I just feel like for what the debate feels like it's meant to accomplish, which is each opponent sharing their views and opinions on different topics, and in some ways offering I guess that's more of the thing, is like you're supposed to be offering your opposing views and opinions.
Well, the biggest thing is it's not for each of them.
No, exactly. It's for the American public
to hear both of their opinions, and then us make an informed decision
like,
for ourselves.
I'm going to make my case for why my Biden plan is best, and I'm going to make a case for why my Donald Trump plan is the best. And then the American public can weigh the merits of those plans on their own and decide. But it's like it didn't serve, to me, it got
too emotional, it got too personal, and it became like a little attacking match, and it was just kind of
strategically,
it was petty and
I think Joe Biden, what's unfortunate though is I think Joe Biden could have seized on that opportunity, and he literally could have just like stepped back away from the podium and been like, I will answer when he stops interrupting me. Mm-hmm. And like totally just remove himself from engaging in the confrontation.
Yeah.
Because I think that would have painted him in a more presidential light, right? Most reasonable people don't want to be interrupted when they're talking. And so they can understand that, they can empathize and relate to that. And that would have then, it's kind of like when you're with your siblings, right? The more you poke at your sibling and the more you get a rise from them, the more you do it. Yeah. And the less that you get a rise out of them, the more you lose interest in what you're doing. And I think that would have kind of almost disarmed Donald Trump a little bit. And he would have had to pursue other avenues, like actually articulating whatever his ideas are. Which is what's unfortunate though is Joe Biden didn't do that. He like kind of tried to at times, like he tried to just stop talking.
He kept like closing his eyes and trying to like recenter himself.
But then he got. I think he, like you said, he kind of got. It became personal and emotional. Yeah. And then once you get into that center of your brain, you lose your logic. Like you stop thinking about how can I use this to my advantage. But I can like see the night going totally differently if he had just told Chris Wallace like, I'm happy to answer your question, but I'm not going to do so if he's going to continue.
I'm not going to engage into what this
I'm not gonna,
right now.
If I can't have my 2 minutes to articulate my point without him interrupting me, then why are we here?
Yeah.
You know
because what he could very easily just be going onto social media and sharing his videos online, his point of views that way.
You could do it all virtually.
Yeah.
With any live, you don't need a live feed.
No, versus having. Well, I mean, he could go on Instagram Live.
Yeah, and not have to worry about somebody. Talk with the
American people there and not having somebody jump down his throat.
That's why they need to do they just need to do Kelsey and Stevan have solved the issue. The next debate, which I think I heard on the news, that's going to be, the committee that puts on the debates or whatever, that's going to be part of the next one, I think.
Do it virtually?
No, the muting of the mics.
Okay.
I think that...
I feel like that... I mean, even though I don't know how much that is actually going to, like, help the matter.
Correct, because it's like, here, let me just, like, push my mic down and yell over the top of it. But
because the other person can just get louder.
Because Joe Biden's mic is going to pick up.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good enough microphone that he can basically shout.
Like, whenever Chris was like, I think it's going to be helpful for the American people if we just answer the questions in the 2-minute slots. It seemed like for 5 minutes, it worked.
It did, but because that's actually what blew me away the most was when Chris Walls would like directly tell Donald Trump to like basically shush, and like Donald Trump like didn't care. He was like, no, like basically telling him like, no, I'm like basically it was his show and he was gonna dictate what was happening here, and it just blew me away. Like, you're on national television in front of all these people, but I mean, I guess that's his personality. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. Yeah. The most unpresidential thing I've ever seen. Compared to any other.
But I mean, he was kind of that way even when he was having his debates with Hillary.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I mean,
it's not like it's anything new.
It seemed like though with Hillary and him, it wasn't this like almost to the point where it becomes incoherent babble because it's all over the top. Mm-hmm. Like, at least with them when they were attacking each other, it was like clear, complete articulated attack followed by another clear, complete you know what I mean, without either one overriding the other.
I don't know. It was pretty crazy, and
I'm looking forward to the next one. I'm looking forward to see like what
maybe they allowed this one to be a big, huge shit show to where more people would tune in to all the other ones to be able to. You know what I'm saying?
I want to see what the polling does. I want to see how the polling changes, and I want to see what each team does. Like, does Trump go to his corner and his team's like, go back out there and do the same thing? Yeah. Like, turn it up another notch. Like, do they play into it? Or do they coach him to bring it back?
I don't really know if...
Does he listen to his cornermen? I don't know.
I mean, I'll be interested. Really, to tell you the truth, his cornermen could be 100% and being like, you're doing a great job, love everything you're doing. Like, they could be doing that. But, I mean, there's really no way of telling because we don't know.
No, you're right. I'll be so interested to see. So obviously we've established the debate was I get the feeling that the majority of Americans share our viewpoint of that event. Based on the articles I've read, the social media posts I see in my kind of interweb sphere, most people's perception of that thing was, whether you're on either side of the political spectrum, most people are like, whoa. Yeah. that was a wild one.
Welcome to the Thunderdome.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so just like from your gut, I'm interested, just from your gut, if you had to think of a winner at this point, if you had to pick a winner at this point,
I don't want to.
Who do you think?
I'm not discussing that.
Because why, you think it's too polarizing?
Yeah.
I don't think it's polarizing to pick a winner. I'm not saying you have to tell me who you want to win. I'm just saying what's like. Obviously, I think.
I know, but like normally when you have that discussion with somebody, they're essentially picking who they want.
I'm so agnostic in this one. But like, my gut feeling or like my temperature read.
Oh, someone's coming.
What's wrong, buddy?
The show's not on anymore.
Okay, we are back from our brief intermission there. We're still working on the whole after bedtime thing.
Yeah, I said he could watch Wall-E. That was my mistake. But also our internet back in that bedroom is not very strong, so it tends to buffer.
We're gonna fix that. Well, we're gonna fix that.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
We need to do something.
What was I gonna say? Oh, I was talking about picking a prediction. So I understand. I respect the fact that you don't want to pick.
I don't feel comfortable because that. at least this race seems very
I want to pick
heated.
Okay, I want to predict. I'll predict the winner, but I want to also predict what I think is going to happen in November. Okay, so what's going to happen in November? And like obviously, this is more for like. So if I'm right, I can go back and be like, I was right. Okay, so what I think is going to happen in November is come election day, election day will close with Trump winning. But because of COVID and the pandemic and the fact that mail-in voting has become so politicized where Democrats are for it and Republicans are against it, you're going to have a huge amount of Democrats that mail in their votes. And therefore...
I know, but do we have is there like a cutoff?
It is. It's all different by state.
Because how long do we have to wait before we know? It's
all different by state. So it's like almost all states allow ballots to count as long as the ballot is postmarked by election date, before or on election date. Then it counts. Even if it arrives on the 4th or the 5th, if it was postmarked on the 3rd or before, it counts as a good ballot.
No, but what if it shows up on the 11th?
And that's what I'm saying is that's basically what's going to happen, I think, is you're going to have this.
So we're going to be waiting.
It's not going to be election day anymore this time. It's going to be election week, I think, to where you're going to have, and it's going to be this huge controversial event where come close of election day, they're going to have a bunch of people wanting to declare victory for Donald Trump, but no one is going to be able to declare victory for anyone officially because ballots are still going to be being counted for the next 4, 5, 6 days because some states' rules are you can't start counting mail-in ballots. Even if you've got them, you can't start counting them till election day. Some states, you can start counting earlier. I
think that's why a lot of people are recommending that if you are mail-in, to mail in early so that it's not one of those situations where they're getting...
True, but I think that's what's going to end up happening. Is you're going to end up... And then what'll happen, I think, is then you'll have everyone wanting to call it for Donald Trump, and then you'll have this wave where they'll complete the mail-in ballots, which will either bring it to a much closer race or it'll push Biden over the top, and then it'll be this whole controversial event, which is with one camp saying the other camp did something wrong. Exactly. It'll be this huge thing. But my prediction is also that Joe Biden wins. And that's purely not based on any political opinion, just purely my temperature check of the people in my life. It just feels like people are ready for a change again in another direction. And whether I'm right or wrong, I think that
Really, I'm kind of ready for a change of just the two political party situation.
Yeah, we're not. Are you registered with a political party? I don't believe I'm registered with a political party.
Well, I think technically I'm registered as a Republican.
Oh, really?
But I could be completely wrong there. I would consider myself more of
middle
of the board.
Yeah,
situation.
I think I'm registered as an
swing
independent.
One way or the other.
But I think that will be the historical moment. The political.
Why do you have to register one way or another? Why? Why did they put people in a box?
I don't know.
What's the point?
I think that's why you can register as independent.
No, so I know, but why? Why do you have to be something?
Who knows? It's too complex for my mind. Okay, so we'll move on.
That's just where my mind goes. It's so complex.
Well, we'll move off the political speak, but it's a moment in time that deserves commentary, and it deserves to be documented. Are we ready for another intermission? Okay, ready?
Here
intermission number 2. Get a drink.
Speaking of shit show.
All right, now we are back from our second intermission.
Okay, close the door.
Hopefully there will be no more interruptions.
I can't guarantee that.
This is our podcast is relatable. It's gritty. It's it's
people
raw.
Are man, that chaos. I try to listen to podcasts to get away from the chaos, not to add more to my life.
I think we're doing okay.
Yeah,
right,
so I'm not gonna give anything, just more of because I don't want to be added by whatever team, camp, whatever you're on.
Okay, so which is the issue with politics in America today? The fact
that you get attacked.
Yeah, because you can't have political discourse that's respectful.
No, I 100% respect everyone's.
No.
I know. I'm saying just in general, I respect everyone's opinion. You have every right to think the way you want to think. I just personally am not willing to go down that road to be in a fight with somebody.
It shouldn't be a fight, though. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's the problem. It shouldn't be a fight.
I'm willing to listen, willing to have discussions, totally fine, but I'm not willing to get into an argument.
All right, pivoting off the political thing, let's talk about, the whole interruption thing that is happening tonight brings up a good parenting topic to talk about, is bedtime. So I would say for us, I mean, obviously our kids have lots of issues and problems. One doesn't keep his pants on. The other one has deformed anatomy that requires surgical intervention.
Which is fine now, but he knows.
Yeah, the way I said that.
He's jumped on the bandwagon to play into the situation. Pretty much drag it out longer. He is healed. He is doing better. He is fine. But
we talked about it on the last one about the tonsils.
I think so. I think
we mentioned that.
Talked about it.
Anyways, I would say obviously I don't want to say our kids don't have any problems. There are things that are quirks but I would say the only serious pain point we have right now is bedtime with the kids.
Yeah.
That I would say is like a daily serious pain point. And
it's not necessarily that it's like a big deal. Sorry. Came in my eye line. I don't really necessarily think that it's a huge deal of them getting up multiple times. It's just more of I want them to actually get a good night rest.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not bothered by them interrupting mommy time or anything like that.
Dad needs his peace and quiet.
Dad needs that, but, I'm in the Thunderdome 24/7, so it doesn't faze me anymore.
I'm more of I was talking last night to Jackson about this. I think that's probably a serious, though, metric.
You trying to plug your other podcast?
Yeah, my second podcast. No, my
disgraceful.
That would be one of the things. The metric that I would use to want to reduce is the number of minutes that pass between it's bedtime and actually being asleep. Because right now we're at 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
And we're at 3 or 4 or 5 interruptions not interruptions, but getting up out of bed, right? And negotiating or needing something or whatever. So that's something in terms of parenting that I'd like to try to improve. And I don't know if it's anything that really is.
I don't want to be too hard on the situation because we were like that when Cal was Kyler's age, but then it took us really long to get him out of diapers overnight because he had to go and he didn't feel like he was allowed to get up and go. So that's why I think I've kind of relaxed on the situation because I don't want Kyler to be that way. I want Kyler to feel like he can get up if he needs to go to the bathroom or if they need to come get us. But at the same time, I kind of do want them to know that, this is bedtime.
Stay in your bed. Go to sleep.
Yes.
Don't get up until...
Unless you need to go to the bathroom.
Which is something no one talks to you about, is the complexity of how do you...
How parenting is, literally riding a line.
On everything.
You could...
On everything. You're riding this line between stay in your bed, but, hey, don't stay in your bed so long that you pee your pants and we have to clean up a mess. Get up out of bed and, But
at the same time, if you're, scared or worried or have concern, you're allowed to come get your parents.
I would actually walk my statement back a little bit. I actually don't care so much, now that I think about it, I really don't care so much if it does take them 45 minutes to go to bed, as long as they stay in their bed and work through that.
Yes.
I'm okay with that. And then I think my real thing is I just don't like the drama of bedtime. It's like it happens every night at 8 p.m. is bedtime.
And that's why we were like bringing this topic up, because we enrolled, which I feel like I should like find her name so that we're not just
plug
like
your influencer. We signed up for a webinar with a psychologist that Kelsey follows online, who is doing a webinar. She did a webinar, and we have the record. We paid to get the recording of it, of like how to make bedtime basically better. And I think that's the aspect that
I believe she's a psychologist that specializes in children psychology.
Okay, and so
rude.
And I feel like the thing that makes bedtime so draining right now is like it's a lot of tears, it's a lot of crying, it's a lot of yelling, and it's just like, and it's almost like I don't understand this. From the time you were like a year old, bedtime has been 8 p.m. and we do the same routine every night, and you know it's coming, and it's still this big thing.
It's Dr. Becky's sleep workshop. But I've been following her for a while, and there's like a lot of information that she gives kind of like daily on her like Instagram stories that I've found very helpful. And so I thought, seeing that she had like this sleep workshop.
You hear that, Mom and Dad? Instagram is educational.
She did this workshop where it's like a sleep workshop. She said that a lot of times you need to like look into the reasons why your kid's getting up, like if they are genuinely scared, or if they, you know, like just certain things like that just yelling at the child to go to bed doesn't help anything. So if they are genuinely scared, or if there's a reason why they're getting up, you need to find that reason to help them feel at ease when they go to bed, because just yelling at them to go to bed doesn't help the situation.
You don't get to the root cause of the problem.
You don't get to the root cause, and then you kind of just upset them by yelling at them to go to bed.
And then it persists to happen because you didn't address it.
But she said that it's like a lot of this stuff, like if you don't find the root cause why they're a child, it's something that they're going to grow up with. And so like it may not be the same manifestation as it is when they're a toddler as they are as an adult, but it's just she's just bringing a lot of stuff to light that I'm like,
so that's
that makes sense.
I guess that's what I'll say is like our thing on our parenting radar. And if it's on yours, check out Dr. Becky.
Dr. Becky's sleep workshop.
Dr. Becky's sleep workshop.
Which I can like find her Instagram. I couldn't remember what her name was.
You're obviously a diehard follower.
Dr. Becky at Home is her Instagram, and she's got a blue check.
So you should go give her a follow.
Yeah.
And tell her that we sent you over there.
A lot
of stuff. And then get her webinar like us, and then watch it, and then on the next episode, we're going to talk about it.
Yeah. We were delayed. I was going to watch it the day of, but then I kind of felt like it might be better to wait.
Students.
Well, I thought it might be better to wait to be able to watch it with you. And pretty much if you pay for it, you get the video version of it sent to you. So she has a lot of workshops.
You know how many times I've signed up for webinars like that for different things? And like they always tell you like, hurry and come now because this is a live thing, and once we do it, it's done. And then like they do it and you don't go, but then they send a link to the recording after they did all that hype to get.
Because they want the numbers
that's so,
actually
like,
there.
Low integrity move there.
Well, she said from the beginning.
Oh no, I get that. It made me think.
I know what you're saying, but she said from the beginning that you would get a video, and she has other like workshops that are coming up. She's been talking a lot of like.
Use our link in the bio. Kelsey and Steven's podcast / Dr. Becky's sleep workshop. 10% discount.
No.
We're an affiliate.
No, we are not. I just really respect her, and I think a lot of the stuff she says makes a lot of sense. Like what she's been talking about lately this week has been stuff like of allowing your kid to set boundaries. Like, if your kid doesn't want to hug grandpa that time, that's okay that your kid doesn't want to hug grandpa. Because if you're allowing them to set those boundaries now, when they get older, they'll feel confident enough to set their boundaries. Like, she kind of referred it to as when they're a kid, allowing them to set their boundaries. Whenever they feel uncomfortable, allow them to say no.
There's
because
so many
then,
people out there that are like, you new age hippie.
oh, I'm sure, and I don't care. And I am one of those parents that allows my kids to say no. If they don't feel comfortable in the situation, they don't have to. But, I mean, of course, within reason. Like she said, that obviously if your kid's trying to say that they don't want to wear their seatbelt, well, that's a safety concern. They have to wear their seatbelt. But I liked what she was saying, because she said if you allow them to set the boundaries now and feel confident in their skin when they're toddlers, then when they're teenagers and if they're at a party and they don't feel comfortable staying there, but their friends are trying to peer pressure them into it, well, if you've allowed them to build the confidence to be able to say no, they're more likely to walk away from the situation instead of just being like, oh, okay, and go along with the flow.
It's a nice straight line.
You don't believe that?
No. I
mean, I don't know if that's actually
that's
the case.
I
just kind of feel it makes sense to me.
No, what I meant was like that totally. Like I totally understand the concept. Like I totally get the concept. Like I don't think it's that. My comment is more of like I don't necessarily think it's that straight of a line, but I understand like how the idea of teaching your kid that concept here.
She's not saying it's guaranteed. She's
should
more
hopefully
just saying it's more
like
likely.
teach them the skill that they can then use in those situations later in life, which I totally agree. I think the biggest thing on this, to illustrative of a point, is I think it's a really good thing to seek out information on things. I think one of the bad things humans fall prey to is we want to make, we almost purposely make things a mystery to give ourselves permission to not try to solve issues and problems. It's kind of like, well, I don't know why my kid acts that way, and I'm not saying you do know. What I'm saying is that shouldn't be the end of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there are people who are very well educated, like this lady, people who have spent their whole lives trying to, like, I'm not saying they know your kid intimately. What I'm saying is they spent their whole lives studying patterns and the science and the psychology and the physiology of these things to try to put some kind of framework together to help you understand things better and be able to navigate and deal with things better. And it seems, what's the word? I don't know if it's arrogant or ignorant, what the right word is, but it seems not very smart to not leverage all that knowledge that exists out there.
Yeah.
You know, if you're struggling with your weight, don't throw your hands up and be like, I don't know why I'm overweight. Like, don't make it a mystery. Like, say, well, I don't know why I'm overweight, but I'm going to go talk to a coach and a nutritionist and my doctor, and I'm going to read some books. And like, there's so much collective human knowledge on all these different topics.
Well, that's also why those resources are out there. They're out there specifically to help people that are in those positions.
And I know that's why people make things a mystery, is because it alleviates them of the obligation to go do those things. But I guess
Well, I think it also kind of alleviates it's me. It's
you don't have to
I'm
take
doing
responsibility
wrong.
for any of it,
Yeah.
right? And I guess that's for us. I think we could throw our hands up in the air and blame our kids for the way they act, or we could throw our hands up and just say, well, that's the way they are, or what, you know what.
Well, I think the biggest thing that has kind of changed my mindset on it is the fact that, like, there was a lot of stuff Cal was doing that was showing signs that he needed to get his tonsils looked at, and we didn't realize that those were signs telling us that he needed to get his tonsils looked at. We thought that he was just... I thought when I was brushing
I think that's a mischaracterization. I don't think that there was a lot of signs.
I don't think there was like 1,000 screaming at us in any sort of way. I'm just saying that I do think that there was signs.
I think there was one. There
What?
was one obvious sign, which is waking up in the middle of the night.
Steven, I'm saying more than just that.
I know you're saying that, and that's what I'm saying is like...
No. I'm saying is that, like, I was brushing his teeth and he would be complaining. And I wasn't realizing that it was because his tonsils were ginormous and the fact that the toothbrush was touching him and it was making it uncomfortable. Like, it was just, there's many little things that was like, hey.
Yeah, I feel like the two things, like, for other people is that you could connect the dots is if your kid has big tonsils, like you say you brush your teeth or look in their mouth and their tonsils look big, and then if your kid is waking up during the night. Yeah. I would say, like, those two things.
Well, and I mean, obviously, the other stuff that they tell you to look for, Cal didn't have all those things, like snoring, and
but for
I do think that he did have a little bit of the crankiness, but I chalked that up to him being a toddler.
Yeah, before you default to behavioral things.
Yeah.
That would be a very easy thing to get a consult and say, I think my kid may have something going on with the tonsils here. I don't really know. Yeah. But it seems worth it to go. Like,
if you see them and you notice that they're huge, and then you do realize that your child is waking up at night, and, just kind of don't chalk it up to the fact that they're just a toddler.
It's just worth it. It's worth investigating now, knowing what we know. In hindsight, you can't know these things as a parent. You just can't know these things because you only learn them through experience. So there's nobody that can tell you every single thing. And I also that list would be 100 feet long.
I get that, but I also kind of feel like I wish our pediatricians would have been a little bit more forthcoming with that information.
But you don't talk to your pediatrician about behavioral things. You know what I
mean? No. I'm saying that, like, me going in, whenever he had strep or on his checkups and they started noticing that they were big, maybe then have the conversation of, hey, if you start noticing that your child's not sleeping through the night, or if your child's cranky, or if they're snoring, or, I feel like that should have been an opportunity to bring to my attention the symptoms that I need to be paying attention to, because he was seen like 4 times where they made comments of his tonsils, but then that was it, and they gave no information other than that.
Well, we're helping you out now, so if you're out there and you got a kid and he wakes up in the middle of the night and his tonsils look a little big, talk to your doctor.
Well, really get referred to an ENT.
Get referred to an ENT.
Was that your way of trying to get me to stop talking about it?
No, I'm just summarizing. I always feel like that's like a very like Stevan thing, as I like to recap.
I know, but I was like still talking.
Oh, go keep going. I'll recap.
I mean, it's kind of no point now.
All right, move us on to our next topic to wrap up this episode.
That was my main topic, coming to the table.
What? You don't have anything else for these wonderful people who have taken time to listen to us?
I don't think there's that many people actually listening to us.
Yeah, there probably isn't. But it's okay. I mean, we're cool with that.
But it's nice to have these conversations on record.
Yeah. I think I'm going to be right about the election thing. I think that's going to be quite a shit show come November. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not looking forward to it.
I'm kind of just over 2020.
2020's still been a good year for us.
Yes, but I mean like as a whole.
Well, positivity, optimism. Optimism always wins.
That is so funny that you are saying this out of this duo.
Hey,
because I am Disney, musicals, and rainbows, and then you are like...
I know what my nature is, and I work very hard to
I am being optimistic, but I'm just saying that I am ready for
oh man,
the next chapter. And I have decided today, I was thinking about it, I decorated for Halloween early.
Who would have thought webcams would be such an important thing in our lives now?
I'm talking about something completely different. You can hold your topic on a sentence.
We're talking about 2020, so go on.
I decided that I decorated for Halloween early, and so I will decorate for, I'll probably decorate for Thanksgiving, like, right after Halloween. But I've decided, like, within the first little bit of November.
You were worried about people adding you because of the presidential. You're gonna get added because of this opinion.
I know. People are gonna get mad. But this is a situation that I don't care. You can be mad at me, but Christmas makes me happy. Makes me so happy that I am going to I'm going to decorate for Christmas like in the beginning of November. And get ready for it, because your little shebang that's over here is wherever my Christmas tree goes.
I just heard my life partner of 11 years articulate her strongest view on anything in the history of anything.
Yeah, you can at me about that. I will fight you. Christmas is the best thing ever, and it brings me so much joy. I love Christmas time. I love the lights. I love when it's cold. I love when it snows. I love everything about it. You want to talk about Disney and rainbows? Christmas.
So Kelsey loves Christmas, and you can find her on Instagram at kfreeborn412, and y'all can have some conversation.
That is so rude. That you're like sending the people that are like, it's not even Thanksgiving yet.
I'm recapping, because like I have
people view very strongly on the that's a split.
It's a camp
down the middle.
And you either just put your flag in the ground and you're
I am normally somebody that's like, I want to give Thanksgiving its due, and Thanksgiving stuff will stay up. It will stay up, but Christmas will slowly start making its way in because it makes me happy.
My bank account will slowly start getting lower and lower. My money, come back!
I mean, I don't know what you want me to say.
I enjoyed this episode a lot. And we're going to be back next week with another one. What are we going to talk about next week? Let's give them a little preview.
Fun, even though it took me until today to figure out my topics.
We're going to talk about the webinar. We're going to recap our webinar, Dr. Becky's Sleep Workshop. You've said that 5 times and I can't remember the name of it.
Well, that shows you how much he listens to me. You can follow her at Dr. Becky at home.
Look, she's
Instagram.
Not paying us.
I'm doing it because it is helpful to parents.
So
she is helpful.
We're going to be back next week in another episode. We're going to talk about Dr. Becky's Sleep Workshop. Cha-ching. And we are going to talk about, I don't know. What else are we going to talk about? We'll figure it out later. It's totally cool.
Really, what we should have called this is Welcome to the Shit Show.
But we can't do that.
It's not after bedtime. Welcome to the chaos. That is the Freeborns.
I think people are going to question after bedtime after this episode. You're like, those damn kids aren't in bed.
Over there giving parenting advice.
These fakers.
They can't even get their kids to bed.
We're having a hard time wrapping this one up. All right.
Really, it's just because I'm an extrovert that finally got the opportunity to talk. You just let that one go, and then now you're trying to ring it back in.
Come back. All right. So, thank you for listening. We hope you guys enjoyed it.
I even have my Christmas shirt on.
I
just realized that.
If you want to take issue with the fact that Kelsey is already celebrating Christmas before Halloween, you can find her at kfreeborn412. And if you want to talk to me about my election prediction, which I think is going to be correct, you can find me at Stevan.freeborn at Instagram.
Directing them to come after you.
No. We're just I'm okay with having conversations, engaged.
I'm
It's
okay
good.
with having conversations and engaging, but I will
And
not have an argument.
we will be back next week with another episode where we're going to talk about the sleep webinar, the sleep workshop, whatever it's called. And we're going to come up with another few exciting topics to ramble on about. So we'll see you guys next time.
Good night.